here. And if you look here, it shows you that you can't have it. Because at pi over 2, there's a vertical asymptote. At 3 pi over 2, there's a vertical asymptote. And that continues, the pattern continues. So we would have to say for domain, x cannot be pi over 2 plus, now the next part is when it repeats. And this repeats every 180 degrees, every pi. Here, 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees. So we would say something like n times pi. And it says it there. Okay, you could have copied it. You could have copied it. Now for my range for tangent, if you look at the range, you can understand, you get everything here. You get everything. These go up and down forever. So it's going to cover all your x's and y's. So your range, we would say negative infinity to infinity. But that's how you use this sheet. It's going to come in handy for you. Okay, keep it in the binder, keep it maybe in the front part of your binder so you can get to it, because there are many times when you need it. All right? So that's part 2. Let's look at another example. So the third example is going to be a fraction. Okay? So let me put my sheet back so I have it when I need it. And let's look at the next one, which is going to say f of x equals 1 over x minus 1. So, domain. Well, we know x cannot be 1. It's not the best way to write it. We're going to be a little more sophisticated than that. So we're going to say negative infinity to 1, union with 1 to infinity. Okay? Now for my range, I can get positives. I can get negatives. I can get fractions. I can get decimals. What can't I get with that function? What value can I not reach with that function? Anybody know? Well, the value that I cannot get to with that is 0. When you have a numerator in a fraction, that means you can't get to 0. So x cannot be 0, which would mean negative infinity to 0, union with 0 to infinity. All right? All right, moving right along. So number 4, and I talked a lot today. I filmed a ton of videos. I filmed stats, section 6.3 in stats, which took me 2 hours. I had like, I don't know how many videos. I don't even know how many it was. It was a lot. And then I did 1, 2, or P2, and now P3. A lot of talking. I hope in the second semester, you guys are probably watching this first week of February. I hope that there's a time when we're together. We're all together, you know? The stuff that you took for granted before. Because this could be a fun class. It could be a really fun class, and I'm going to do my best to make it that way. All right, so 1 minus x when x is less than 1, and root x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 1. Okay? So let's look. We got to come up with a domain, we got to come up with a range. So they gave us a piecewise function. Okay? They gave us a piecewise function. So let's look. Can I plug in any number that I want to? Take a look and think. Can I plug in any x that I want? Can I plug in positives? Yeah? Now, normally when you have a square root, you have a problem with negatives, but if 1 is the smallest value that I can plug in for x, and I can't plug in negatives, my negatives go here, my domain is going to be negative infinity to infinity. Okay? Now I got to think about my range. And again, I'm going to do it with XY charts, so I got to feel for it. So when I do my XY charts here, x is less than 1. 1, 0, negative 1, and so on. And I'm going to put a little circle around there. And the reason I put my circle around there is because 1 isn't a value that I really need to plug in here, okay? But I can't start by plugging in 0, because what about 0.9? What about 0.99? What about 0.999? Okay? So I have to put 1 in there, but I do this so I remember that it's an open circle. So if I plug in a 1 up here, okay? 1 minus 1 is 0. But when I plug in a 0, 1 minus 0 is 1. Put a negative 1 in here, it's going to be 2, and so on. So if I were thinking about the range for this, I would say x is greater than 0. I can't say greater than or equal to, because 0 technically is not an answer to that. Let's look at what happens here. This xy chart, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put in a 1, I get 0, right? Plug in a 2, I get 1. Plug in a 3, I get root 2. Plug in a 4, I get root 3. So here, the smallest value is a 0. So I would say x is greater than or equal to 0. So if I'm trying to put these together and figure out what I'm going to do for my range, I can get 0, I can get positive numbers, I can't get negatives. So I would say the range is bracket 0 to infinity. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So let's wrap up this part. Just going to wrap up my videos for 2020, at least the ones in classroom here. I'll have to finish this up over vacation. I want to try to get my videos done at least through February vacation. The hopes that we have that basketball season. You'll know it when you watch this video. You'll be like, yeah, Mr. O, girls team's doing well, boys team's doing well, or I don't want to think about the alternative. So the graph of a function, ready? A vertical line can intersect the graph of a function at most once, vertical line test. So this would mean not a function. This is a function. This is a function. Passes the vertical line test. Okay? And here it says, page 23, write this in your notes, shows the graphs of the 8 basic functions. I am not going to make you copy that. Not. Okay? I got like 25 minutes left. How many emails do I have to answer? Not that many. Not that many. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. No. That's a good place for me to stop. Okay, so that's it for this video. Let me know what you like. Do you like these videos better, or do you like the ones with music? It's up to you. If you want to look at the back of my hand, I can always do those. All right? Boom.